What if the thing that determines a lasting marriage is not love, but the ability of two people to change their roles when necessary? If there is a creature living quietly beneath the ocean, surviving for millions of years without competition, then perhaps it holds a principle that humans often forget. And if you stay with this story until the end, you may realize the biggest mistake couples make is not falling out of love, but not knowing how to sustain it. Ethan and Olivia had been together long enough to think about marriage. They were no longer in the phase of emotional intensity, but had entered a calmer state, where everything was considered more carefully. They knew each other's habits, their strengths and their flaws, but that same understanding began to expose their differences more clearly. They didn't argue often, but distance started to appear in subtle ways. There were moments when they sat side by side, without truly connecting. Not because they lacked love, but because each believed they were doing the right thing, and the other should understand, without explanation. One weekend, Ethan suggested going to the aquarium. Not for any special reason, just to change the environment. Olivia agreed, more out of habit than excitement. The aquarium was quiet, soft blue light, slow-moving visitors, and large glass tanks holding an entire silent world. They walked side by side, not rushed, but not truly close either. When they reached a smaller, less crowded area, they stopped in front of a tank that barely moved. Inside, a small creature stood upright, its tail gently wrapped around a piece of coral. It didn't swim, didn't chase, just drifted with the current. A nearby staff member noticed them watching for a while and said softly, "If you want to be happy together, observe this species carefully." Then he walked away, as if he had said something ordinary. Ethan and Olivia looked at each other briefly, then turned back to the glass. It was a seahorse from the genus Hippocampus, a creature they had seen before, but never truly understood. At first glance, it didn't seem impressive. It wasn't fast, wasn't strong, didn't stand out. But the longer they looked, the more something felt different. Ethan noticed how it existed. It didn't fight the current. It didn't react impulsively. It simply held its position and adjusted to the environment. Olivia noticed something else, its stillness. No tension, no urgency. A kind of calm that humans rarely have. That night, they looked deeper into this creature. Not out of curiosity, but because that sentence still lingered. And then they discovered something that made them both fall silent. In this species, the male carries the pregnancy. Not as a metaphor, but as a biological fact. The female transfers her eggs into the male's body, and the male becomes the one who protects, nurtures, and gives birth. Ethan read that again, more than once. He had always believed he needed to carry everything, to control, to lead. But he had never considered that sometimes roles are meant to shift. Olivia had her own realization. She had been waiting to be understood, but rarely expressed herself clearly. She wanted care, but never asked if Ethan needed the same. The seahorse does not argue about roles. It does not prove who is stronger. It simply does what is necessary for life to continue. And that is what creates balance. In the days that followed, Ethan began to change how he responded. When Olivia was silent, he didn't rush to conclusions. He observed more, listened more, and accepted that not everything needed to be fixed immediately. Olivia changed as well. She spoke her thoughts instead of holding them back. She understood that without expression, understanding is only an assumption. Their relationship didn't become perfect, but it became more real. Misunderstandings didn't disappear, but they became easier to resolve. Not because they were more alike, but because they understood each other better. One evening, Ethan asked Olivia to return to the aquarium. No clear reason, just a quiet invitation. But this time there was something different in his eyes. The aquarium was the same blue light, the same silence, but the space between them had changed. They walked back to the seahorse tank, still quiet, still steady. But this time, Ethan didn't just stand there. He turned to Olivia. No hesitation, he spoke slowly, clearly. He didn't promise a perfect life. He didn't say anything grand. He simply said he was willing to change, to listen, and to learn how to adapt with her. Then, he knelt down. In the quiet of the aquarium, under soft blue light, the moment didn't need attention. It was enough. Olivia didn't react with overwhelming emotion. She stayed silent for a few seconds. Not hesitation, but realization. She saw the man in front of her had truly grown. She nodded. No long speech, just certainty. Around them, everything continued as usual. People walked by, lights reflected on glass, and somewhere behind them, seahorses still held on to coral, quietly, unchanged. No one in the aquarium knew a life decision had just been made. But for Ethan and Olivia, that was enough. They didn't choose each other because of emotion. They chose each other because they understood how to move forward together. In the human world, roles are tied to ego. Who is right? Who is stronger? Who is in control? But in the world of the seahorse, roles are simply part of survival. No competition, no proving, only alignment. And maybe that is what humans need to learn. You don't have to be right to keep a relationship. You don't have to be in control. You only need to understand that sometimes to go far together, you must step out of your familiar role. Not because you are weak, but because you are mature. Ethan and Olivia left the aquarium that night. The city was the same, but inside them, everything had shifted. They didn't talk about the distant future. They didn't make grand plans, just a quiet certainty that they would continue walking forward together. Not because everything was perfect, but because they had learned how to adjust. And if there is one final thing to remember, it is this: love is not what keeps two people together. The way they adapt together is what determines how far they go. And if this story made you pause, even for a moment, then take that small step. Subscribe to the channel, not just to watch more stories, but to receive meaningful lessons that stay with you. Your support is what gives this channel the motivation to keep searching for and sharing stories that truly matter. Every subscription is a quiet form of connection, helping these lessons reach further and touch more lives. Because somewhere out there, there are still countless stories waiting to be told. Subscribe for more life lessons.